Hello there, welcome to a new video on the ToborTech YouTube channel. In today's Java Basics video, we're going to learn about hash maps in Java. So without further ado, let's get started. Today, we're going to learn about a collection data structure that is somewhat different from what we have been learning in the previous lessons of this chapter. To quickly review, we have been learning about arrays and array lists in the previous couple lessons of this video series. Today we're going to learn about hash maps in Java programming. The hash map data structure is similar to arrays and array lists in that they all store collections of data. The difference is how these data structures store data. Whereas arrays and array lists store values as lists, hash maps store key value pairs. You can think about a hash map as a dictionary. Using a dictionary, we would look up a word using the key, which is the word itself. And what we will find in the dictionary is the definition of the word, which is the value. The word and its definition form a key value pair, which can be easily represented by a hash map in Java. So in this table, you can kind of think about this as a hash map or a dictionary. So here we have two columns. We have a column called key and another column called value. The key column is storing the words. So we have two words right here. And then in the value column, we have two definitions. We have one definition and another. This is one key value pair. We will use this dictionary by looking up the definition of the key programmer. And we will see the value is someone who does programming. And if we look up the key of programming, we will find the value of something programmers do. So now let's talk about hash maps in Java. Like array lists, if you remember from a previous lesson of this course, array lists need to be imported before we can use array lists in our program. And HashMap has actually quite a few similarities with array lists. So we have to first import the HashMap class before we can use it in our program. So what we will write is we will write import java.util.hashmap and then semicolon. So we will be putting this at the top of our program before our class definition. So if I go to the online Java editor, we will be putting this on the very first line of our program. So we will put it right before our class on the very first lines of our program. So now let's talk about creating hash maps in Java. The declaration and initialization of hash maps is also very similar to those of the Arraylist class. Below is the syntax. So how we can do that is we write hash map. Notice how the H and the M are capitalized, just like how it was in the import statement. And then in angle brackets, we will put two data types, separated by a comma. The first one is the data type of the keys. And the second one is the data type of the values. And then the variable name is equal to, and then we write new, and then hash map, and the same thing as it was here, repeated right here, and then parentheses, semicolon. So if I want to create a hash map with string keys and string values like our dictionary from before, we can write hash map, and then in angle brackets, we can write string, comma, string, and then the end of the angle brackets. Dictionary is equal to new hash map, and then string, string, parentheses. So let me just copy this into our program. And we don't see anything printed out because we didn't really write any print statements, did we? Right, so similar to array lists, only objects can be put into a hash map. So if we want to put primitive data types like ints and doubles and booleans into a hash map as keys or values, we have to use their wrapper classes. So instead of writing int here, we write integer with a capital I. So hashmap string integer ages is equal to new hashmap string integer parentheses. So this hash map, ages, will have string keys and integer values. Likely it will store the names of a few people as the key and the ages of these people as the values. So let me just try to run this and see what happens. And once again, we see nothing printed out, which is good since we didn't see any errors getting thrown. To add key value pairs into a hash map, we can use the put method. So we defined the hash map called dictionary right here somewhere. Right here on this line, we defined a dictionary hash map with string values or string keys and string values. So we can write dictionary.put, and then the arguments we pass into this method call, we'll pass two arguments. The first one being the key and the second one being the value. So this is one key value pair and this is another key value pair. So I'm going to copy these two lines of code and I'm going to get rid of this line since we don't need it. And I will just run this program. And we still see nothing printed out. So let's just try to print out this hash map right here. So system.out.println dictionary. And then obviously we need a semicolon. Now this program actually produced some results. So we saw that we have this thing printed out, which is essentially saying that we have two key values pairs. So we have 1 and 2 key value pairs. The first one has a key of programmer and then a value of this. The second one has a key of this and a value of something programmers do. We can use the get method to access values in a hash map. Now, if you remember from our lesson on array lists, we also use the get method, but we pass in the index of the item we want to access. Now, because hash maps don't have indices, we pass in the key into the get method. So if we want to see what is the value corresponding to the key programmer, so we want to see this, then we pass the key into the .get method. And the same thing with the programming here. So let me just copy this. And why don't I just get rid of this and run this. And we see we got someone who does programming and something programmers do. So the first line is .get programmer. We got someone who does programming, and dictionary.get programming is we got something programmers do. Just like ArrayList, we can get the number of key value pairs in a hash map using the size method. So if we write dictionary.size, we will get 2 because we have currently 2 key value pairs inside of the hash map called dictionary. So let me just try this out. And we see on the third line of our output, we see 2 because we have 2 key value pairs in our hash map. To remove a key value pair from a hash map, we can call the remove method with the key as the argument. Or we can call the clear method to clear the entire hash map. So if we write dictionary.remove programming, we will remove the key value pair whose key is programming. And dictionary.clear will remove the entire or all the key value pairs of the hash map dictionary. So let me just get rid of these lines. Actually, I only need to get rid of the first 2 lines. Let me comment out line 9 and just remove programming. And we see 1 printed out because now we only have the key value pair. We only have this key value pair right here since we removed the one with programming. And if I comment out this line and uncomment the clear method call, we will see that our print statement will print out a value of 0 because we cleared everything in our hash map. So now let's keep going and take a look at how we can loop through a hash map. There are two methods we can use for this. The first one is the key set method, which returns the keys of a hash map. So to loop through the keys of our hash map, we can write for string key, since our keys are strings in this case. For each key in our dictionary.keyset, we will print out the key. And we can use the same idea with the values method to return the values. So for each string value in our dictionary's values, we'll print out each value. So I'm going to copy these couple of lines, and we don't need this anymore. And let me just indent this properly before running our program. And we see programming. These are the two keys of our hash map. So that's how we got these printed out. And someone who does programming and something programmers do are the values of our hash map. So now let's try an exercise. Using a hash map, make your personal dictionary with words as keys and definitions as values. Then using only one loop, print out the keys and values of your dictionary. Now the second step may seem somewhat challenging, but take a few minutes to do it, and I'm sure you'll be able to succeed. So here's one solution to this problem. In this code, we have made a hash map with string keys and string values called dictionary once again, and we put two more key value pairs into the dictionary hash map. The first one's a definition of the programming language Java, and the second one is that of Python. So in this one loop, we're able to print out the keys and the values of our hash map. So the way how this is done is in this for each loop, we're looping through the keys of dictionary. And then we print out keys. We print out the keys of our dictionary. And the way how we access the values is we write dictionary.getKey. So this will access the values corresponding to each key. So that way we print out the keys and the values on one line. So let me just try to run this program. And why don't I just indent this once again. And we'll see that we have Java, a high-level class-based object-oriented blah blah blah, and then this is the entire definition, and we have another definition on a different line. So this is how you can access the keys and values of a hash map in Java. Congratulations on learning about hash maps. So now you know how to conveniently store key value pairs in a data structure. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing to our channel down below. And with that said, thank you for watching this video on hash maps in Java. Happy coding!